yeah, it's a natural emotion to be upset. But where do we go now? Where are we going to take? What are we going to do? How do we fix it? And what is everyone doing? What is everyone? Everyone can speak. Like those Twitter people, everyone can talk. Ask them what have they done. It's 365 days last year. I can tell you exactly what I've done last year. I can tell you everything that I've done in that change. I can tell you the amount of people I saved from going to jail. I can tell you amount. I can tell you that I got this person out of jail. I can tell you that I've done this, and that. I fed this many people. I can tell you exactly what I've done with my 365 days. What has everyone done? It's a challenge. Like, what are we doing? It's cool. We can have the conversation. And again, I'm not saying it's not needed. It's needed because we need to know what's happening. We need to identify the problems for us to address it. But after we address it, what are we doing?
Can you elaborate on how different community groups and nonprofits will be identified that you're going to work with? And I guess they're going to be funded.
Some will be identified by the players, because this exists currently. Some will be identified by the artists that participate in these programs. They'll say, again, I'm using Chance, maybe way too much, but Chance his thing is education, so he'll focus on education. So between the organizations, the artists, and the players.
Commissioner, you said something that in the episode a few months ago. The NBA is very proud of its commitment to social justice. Is this also part of a shift by the league, or is the NFL become more like the NBA?
No, we don't copy anybody, but I'll just tell you, we're proud of our 100 years. We're proud of what we've done in our communities. But, you know, as I've said many times, even here today, our players spoke up about things that were happening in communities, and they brought that awareness to the league, the clubs, the owners, and they responded by trying to create a platform that will address those issues. So I'm actually proud of what we're doing. So I think we have the greatest platform in the world, and we're using it in a very positive way.
Commissioner, this is a big partnership. The best PR move the NFL can do right now is the Colin Kaepernick back.
This is Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick's agent. That's a good way to go. We done? Are we good? Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Good man. Yeah, thanks. Where do you? Oh, that's okay.
I think the biggest issue people have is they want to know how you could partner with the league on social justice when Colin Kaepernick, who brought it to the attention of the masses about peacefully protesting against social injustices, still out of job.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that I think we take it back. I think that we forget that Colin's whole thing was to bring attention to social injustice, correct? So in that case, right, this is a success, right? This is the next thing, right? Because there's two parts of protesting. You go outside and you protest, and then the company or the individual say, I hear you. What do we do next, right? So for me, it was like actionable item. What are we going to do with it? Like everyone heard, and we hear what you're saying, and everybody know I agree with what you're saying. So what are we going to do? You know what I'm saying? So reach millions and millions of people, or we get stuck on Colin not having a job. You know what I'm saying?
So I think my follow would be the project. Like a lot of people think the partnership is disingenuous because it's almost like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound. It seems like Colin being collectively blackballed by the NFL.
Well, I'll just add on to what Jay said, because we talked about this, we talked about a variety of issues, and I think when we first met, we talked about entertainment and how we do that. But the number one thing we went to was impact. that we can have an impact together and that we can do some really positive things in our communities. And to go to Jay's point, we listened to our players. We understood what our players were saying, and we created a platform in which to help drive change in communities that Colin has raised and that other players have raised. And this partnership, in addition to the entertainment aspect and bringing football and music together, is going to help us make even greater change. And we call it protest to progress, right? We need to make progress as communities and as a country, and that's what we want to try to do. And that's a big part of, I think, what both of us feel this relationship can be.
We do have to move on. Jay, quick comment from BBC, just to follow up. So you passed on performing at the Super Bowl, and then you rapped about passing on performing at the Super Bowl. So the NFL needed you in the NFL. What changed? What was the impetus for the partnership?
Yeah, as an artist, I've always held myself in high regard and respect. And if I'm in this position or in a space where I feel like the level of respect that I earn as an artist is being compromised, I'm going to speak about it 10 times out of 10. And then after that, there's conversations that happen. I'm working criminal justice in this very room. We do board meetings here, and Robert Kraft is on the board of that as well. So those conversations started about criminal justice, and seeing how serious we were and how dedicated we were to those platforms. And again, like everything else, it slowly evolved, like a conversation as opposed to, I'm upset with you and I'm never speaking to you again. We're adults at this point, and the only thing, conflict resolution, the only way we're going to move forward is through conversations. And I guess my speaking out brought about a conversation, which brought about a conversation that led to a partnership.
Commissioner, just follow up. You said that the NFL and Rock Nation have a shared vision of inspiring meaningful social change. What does that social change look like to you? What does it look like to you?
Well, I'll go first. To me, we spend a lot of time talking about our initiative that our players really created and that we support our players with in trying to, what we use the term, inspire change, and to work with them on criminal justice, education, better relationships with law enforcement in the communities. Those types of things that our players have identified areas we need to make progress on, we need to move forward on, and we'll be supporting that inspire change as probably well as evolving that with our players. I mean, that's something that's going to evolve very quickly, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously, something like this doesn't come together unless you two have a lot of really candid discussions about what this is about. Can you talk a little bit about how your relationship has evolved over this process, over these months? I think you guys said, hey, let's talk about this.
I think just really truthful, honest conversation. I think the first thing I said to Roger was, if this is about me performing in the Super Bowl, then we could just end this conversation now. It has to be a bigger platform than that.
That was after I flew from New York to LA.
Good weather though, man.
Jay, how many months has this taken place, this conversation?
I don't know. When was it?
We first, I think, saw each other at the Kansas City Rams game, and then I think I came out in early January.
Yeah, so 6-7 months.
Yeah, somewhere there.
Just the relationship, how's it going?
Well, I'd also give a call out to Robert Kraft, too, who had a relationship, too, with Jay, and he saw the benefit of this also. And so he actually joined us in our first meeting. And I would tell you that it was a lot of very frank conversation. We talked about a lot of the issues. We also talked about what we could actually do. And bringing football and music and entertainment together and then having an impact on our communities was something we both wanted to do. But relationships build over time and trust, but they also, I think we're both committed to sort of saying, let's get to work. Let's go show people that this is going to be a great thing.
My question would be, what would you say to those kind of people that would say that this is sort of effectively a move to kind of take the protests away from the field to a platform that might be a little more palatable, so maybe a little less out there and visible? Or you kind of still support protests on the field? Do you feel like it's kind of moving away from putting it out there on the field in front of a mass audience?
I support any protest that's effective, and if you can provide effective ways to push a conversation forward and help people at the same time. I'm really into action. I'm really into like real work. I'm not into like how it looks. How it looks only lasts for a couple months until we really start doing the work. And I've been in this position many times where people before I even say what I'm about to do have told me what I'm thinking or how it's going to turn out. And then 5 years later, we look back at take titles, a great example for take that 5 years ago, and now you look at it today and people have a different outlook on it. But at the time, it was like, what's going on? So I've been in this position many times, and I just show up and do the work. I'm not really interested in how things look on the outside. And if protesting on the field is the most effective way, then protest on the field. But if you have a vehicle like Inspire Change where you can speak to the masses and educate at the same time as well, tell people what's going on so people are not controlling your narrative and not telling you your protest is about this. You're like, no, I'm telling you out of my mouth it's about this. But if you have a platform that's reaching millions of people, it's hard to steer the narrative the way they want to.
And I just add one thing to that. I think what the players want is to focus on the work in the communities that they're doing and the problems and addressing them. They did the protest to bring attention to that. Now they want to get to the hard work of helping make progress in those communities. And so that's where they want the attention. That's what they want to see is the work that we're all doing together to try to make our communities better. And they're leading.
You want protest to stop?
I want us to take what they've been talking about and the focus of what they're protesting about to go make a change in the communities because that's what they want. That's what they were doing.
Have you spoken with Cap? So was conversation not what?
I would never tell you what me and Cap's private conversation was about, but we spoke, yeah.
And is he supportive?
I would never tell you about our conversation.
What is the current statement? What is the current anthem policy? And if people still choose to take the knee or protest during the anthem, will this vehicle be used as discouragement? Might you say, well, why do that any longer when you set up this whole new vehicle to inspire change?
But you can also ask that question, if this vehicle be used as an encouragement?
No, I got you. But I'm saying some people.
I just want to open that up for you.
No, I agree with you. But we know, let's be honest, with everything we're dealing with.
I'm only honest.
And even what we're dealing with right now, I doubt that the rate of speed by which inspire change can make a difference is going to catch up to a lot of stuff that's happening today. We still have police killings happening every single day. We have people being killed by domestic terrorists. I mean, we're not going to solve all this in the 2019-2020 season.
So don't you want to get started?
Well, let's get started. What I'm saying is, in the interim, people are going to want to say, I may want to take a knee, I may want to make a
But
statement.
that's what our Inspire Change platform is, to continue to show what's going on in those communities and what we can do, and our players are doing to make the change. And that's what we're doing. And that's why we continue to work with the Players Association, the Players Coalition, to try to say, we're not walking away from that. We're actually putting more resources in. We're bringing more partners to bring not only awareness, but change.
Can you just speak about the role that Robert Kraft played in brokering this deal?
Yeah, I think that we, through our work with prison reform, and I think he saw how serious we were in the room, and we've had a relationship before. We basically talked. Actually, no one mentions, with all due respect, no one mentions Adam Levine in this whole thing and his role that he played in this. We all talk about Cap because that's a hot button issue. But this is an entertainment company as well. We also discussed what happened at the Super Bowl, right? Because that was one of the things that sparked this conversation as well. What happened at the Super Bowl? And I explained to them how the process went with the Super Bowl and myself, and what I felt about it. And we were, again, frank conversations, super clear. We had super frank conversations, and it slowly evolved from there. So how do we fix it? And I sat with Roger, and I was like, man, if this is about me playing the Super Bowl, then we might just end this meeting now because that's not enough. We need to. You guys have a platform. People are upset. Private citizens for me, with everything that's going on in the country, private citizens are the ones that's going to have to push things forward, working together like we do reform. We're not relying on government to do it. Okay, let's take this group of people and let's introduce these bills and see what we can do. Let's take Team Rock, Team Rock organization we started. Let's take current events where people get in trouble every day and it's on the news cycle. And let's stop a little boy from getting arrested for singing the national anthem in school. That's a real thing. So that's how the whole thing came about. I was like, let's make it bigger than that. Let's use this platform to really inspire change, and let's put on some great performances.
And even the
Will
entertainment.
you be performing as well?
Not this year, no.
But even just to go to Jay's point, it's even entertainment well beyond the Super Bowl, as you saw from Asia's presentation. We're talking about engaging our players. We're talking about using our events, all our events, the draft, the Super Bowl, the Pro Bowl, the kickoff, to be able to use this partnership and have it come to life. It's just not Super Bowl.
Yes.
Commissioner, I know, well, you in the NFL, and Jay, you and Rob, I'm sure have thought about how to measure success of this program. Can you give us any insight on what success will look like for this program?
I don't have a number. It's not a number like with reform. We got 1 million people, which is a nutso number, right? I don't have a number, but I'm sure that we'll evaluate as this thing go along. How many people we touch, how many people we reaching. We're constantly looking at the metrics and all the numbers of what's happening and who we're touching and who we're speaking to and who's participating and how many impressions has it had and how many people that it affected in real time. So we'll keep evaluating that as we go along.
I just said to what Jay said. Elevate the entertainment too. We always want to get better, and we think we can do that. We got the best in the business right here, so we think we can do that. But the impact is really important. And as I've teased several times, with all this great entertainment, I hope people don't forget that a great football game is going to break out in the middle of it. By the way,
Jay, from a hip hop point of view, I remember you once said to Nas, you try to keep knowledge, and since then we've seen you change and evolve. And I think people forget about that to some extent. I remember the Water Initiative in Africa, Sean Bell, et cetera, et cetera. How do you address people who may have those short-term memory issues, or do you care?
I just got to do the work. That's the only thing that requires that. Because we can go back and forth and have different perspectives of what we believe should happen. Right? This should happen. Or it should be like this. And this person should be involved. How could it go forward if this person isn't involved? All these different things that we can talk about and speak about. But no one can argue with the facts. No one can argue with the work. So I just got to do the work. And again, I'm familiar with this position. That's what I do.
Will this initiative create jobs or any other? We talk about inspiring the community, et cetera, et cetera. What about like jobs, things that people really don't feel?
I don't know.
Also in there, there's education and all these other things which will lead to job creation. And anybody that plugs in, say a song of the season, and that's your platform that you want to speak about. And it's not just our platform, we're plugging in anyone who wants to be involved. So say I'm Chance the Rapper and I feel like I want to create jobs in Chicago. We're going to support that initiative. So it could be anything. It could be any initiative, anything, social injustice, anything that's happening in the country, we can plug into it. Yeah.
I think it's going to be driven a lot by our players and the artists. We're going to continue to listen to them, see where we can have the greatest impact.
Do you have a list yet of organizations that you can partner with that will benefit from this partnership? And also, Jay, do you regard this partnership as a process? I mean, are you looking to change things from the inside?
Of course, yes. I'll answer that first. I don't have anything else to add to that. Just yes.
What's the question?
The question was, do you have a list or have you set things up with nonprofit
list,
organizations?
Yes, we do. As a matter of fact, not just a list. We've already started funding for the last 2 years, which we can give you an entire list of all the organizations that we have done with our players, with our clubs, and that funding began probably 18 months ago. Okay. And we have commitments to do that going in the future. And I think opportunity is something I'd say that's going to come out of this, where I think there'll be additional opportunities and frankly additional money that may come out of this that will go back into the communities because of this.
Okay, so there are no new partnerships as of yet as a result of this one.
We're not making that announcement today, no, but I have no question that that's going to evolve as we continue to talk with the artists and the players.
What he's saying, what was exciting for us as well is what we're saying is all those other initiatives Rock Nation drew up and these guys agreed to, which we have to give them credit for that. Inspired Change already existed. They already were donating money. I think it was 1.4 from the last event, but it was so, in my opinion, it was so spread out. It needed to be happening all year long. It's not just happening around a Super Bowl event. It couldn't be like one event a year. It had to happen all the time and throughout the whole year. So things are happening every day. Like we were creating philanthropy organizations for our players and realized, no, things are happening every day. We need a separate, which is Team Rock. This is Donya. I keep pointing to her because she runs it. No, we need something that happens every day because there's things happening all over this country and it's a lot of turmoil. And I think that we all have a responsibility to just push it forward. Like it's good to have conversations about it. That's great. We have to bring awareness to it. So I'm not knocking the conversation. I actually welcome the conversation. I want to be held to a higher standard. I'm not even gonna say higher standard. I want to be held accountable for what I'm doing. Right? It keeps me sharp. Let me know that I can't play around. I have to do what I said I'm going to do. I'm self-motivated, so that's fine. The extra pressure is fine too. What I'm saying is things are happening all the time, and we are going through a tough time. And the NFL platform for us, what was exciting for us, Spy Change is already happening, and the NFL has a huge platform, and we can use that huge platform. We've seen it happen. Like when J.J. Watts, came the aid to everybody in Houston, the whole world forgot about all the turmoil they had with the NFL. Oh, that's a great thing. That's a fantastic thing. And if you can use that platform to do that in different areas, then it's a home run. That's the success. I think someone asked me what I would view success. That's the success for me.
Thank you, Randy from ET. His presentation mentioned that the Super Bowl performance will be picked based on city and honoring the heritage of that. Can you elaborate on what that means exactly and have conversations begun like J-Lo and Enrique Iglesias?
No, not like that. Not in those terms. Like typically when and we had this conversation, can't go to a city, plop a show down, and then leave. You know, like at least speak to the community, speak to the things, speak to the guys that's on the ground, organizing things and trying to make things better, and that sort of way. Because Tampa's next year. I love Tampa Bay. I have no idea who's from there, who performs. So you start running into that problem. If you start doing that, and sometimes it may happen and it may line up that the person is from the city that they perform, but you don't want to get into that space because then again, who performs in Tampa? Anybody know? Tampa Bay. Class. There we go. Yes.
You mentioned that you played a role that Adam Levine played in this. I was wondering if you could explain exactly what role did he play in this.
Well, we had to have a conversation, right? Because there was a lot of talk around Adam Levine's performance in Atlanta. So I think that and me being vocal about stepping back from performing as well, I think that sparked some of the conversation as well. Yeah.
I just wonder, because you both talk about having these super candid conversations. I wonder if anything that, like asking this commissioner, anything that Jay offered to you that was surprising or enlightening in terms of his perspective of why he didn't perform or some of the protests that were going on.
Well, I think we probably keep some of that. He can speak for himself on some of that. I would tell you that in every conversation I've had with Jay has been enlightening, not just on his perspective of the process of how we do the entertainment, but what we should try to achieve. Because we always say we can get better and we can evolve, and the Super Bowl halftime has over the years. We've always had those moments where we think we can say, let's think about doing this differently. And we always think we should partner with the best. That's why we're sitting here. We're partnering with the best. And so his perspective is going to drive us. I'm not going to sit here and talk to him about entertainers. He knows that business. We have to figure out how do we support that and how do we make sure that we bring that to another level.
Anything surprising?
Yeah, just enlightening about his perspective.
I think that the openness and willingness to, when we presented all these initiatives, we expected to maybe do one or two. We thought they'd be super powerful as well as we could plug into the supply chain. And these guys were just super open to, to allow the platform to be used to service others. That was a bit surprising.
Good surprise.
Good surprise.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we got in part as a response to protests on the field. I just want to go back to the question John Mark was asking earlier. What happens in the interim now? Obviously, this is about such an effective protest. But what happens the next time somebody protests on the field while this is still underway? Has there been any change in whether we can do that?
You said you're asking Jay?
You asking me?
Commissioner, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm not the commissioner yet. See, that's what I was worried about. I don't want that job.
That's what, that's to go back to, that's what we've been talking with our union about for the last year or so, and talking about let's one, move forward and work progress, but two, let's do things together. Let's talk about when something when we need to shine a light on something, let's do it together. And that has been very effective for us. And that's what we talk about all the time, not just with the union, but also with our partners in the player coalition. And we have a group of owners and a group of players that work together, and they meet on a regular basis to talk about those things.
Okay. With the conversations you've had, frame this in the dialogue. Sorry, this way, would you kneel, would you stand?
Without what?
Would you kneel, would you stand?
Okay, I think we passed kneeling. I think it's time to go into actionable items.
Do you want people to stop?
No, I don't want people to stop protesting at all. Kneeling, I know we're stuck on it because it's a real thing, but it's a form of protest. I support protests across the board. We need to bring light to the issue. I think everyone knows what the issue is. And we're done with that. Everyone knows what you know what the issue is? You know why we're kneeling? Okay, do you know the issue? Yeah, do you know the issue? Yes, we all know the issue now. Okay, next. What are we moving on next? And I'm not, again, so to be clear for the room, I'm not minimizing that part of it because that has to happen. That's a necessary part of the process. But now we all know what's going on. What are we going to do? How are we going to stop? Because the kneeling was not about a job. It was about injustice. Let me bring attention to injustice. Everyone's saying, how are you going forward if Cap doesn't have a job? This wasn't about him having a job. Right? That became part of it. That became part of the discussion. He was kneeling to bring attention to injustice. We know what it is. Now, how do we address that injustice? What's the way forward? Does anyone have any other suggestions of what's the way forward?
I agree with that. Because he got a job.
What?
He's how got a job.
Yeah, he can sign it right now.
I know this is Jay from Asia, but who's the first subject for the entire change documentary?
I didn't hear Adrian.
Who's the first subject for the entire change documentary?
We take suggestions as well.
One of the initiatives that was highlighted in the was about policing the community. So I'm wondering when you kind of envision what an ideal program or initiative, or like what does that look like if you actually build something around community and policing and promotion? What would success look like with that?
Well, I'll give you a couple, because I participated in some of those. And they've been very effective. What we've actually done, I went down last fall, I believe it was with Kenny Stills and several Dolphins, and went into the Miami community, and we actually went with law enforcement into the community and had a couple events. We the dialogue, we shared each other's perspectives, and it was really positive. And I think our players want to do that, to be able to show that law enforcement has a role, but the community, they need to understand how the community is looking at the law enforcement also. And that dialogue was really helpful. I think it helped law enforcement from what I did, and I think the community reacted very favorably. And they're doing that all around the country. I just happened to participate in that one. I also went down to New Orleans, and we went and looked at actually bail reform, and actually went to a proceeding with several places. And out of that, actual changes happened. Legislative change, real change. Now, is there more change that needs to happen? Absolutely. I mean, we're not there yet. Someone made the point, but we got a lot of work to do.
By getting involved in policing, though, are you, is the NFL, or are you making a statement about how you feel about the current state of policing in this country?
No. What we're doing is that we can believe we can make our communities better by sharing perspective. So the community understands law enforcement's perspective, and law enforcement understands the community's perspective, and understand how we go forward in a better way.
Jay, the commissioner answered this question. I want to put it to you as well. Meaningful social change. This is a campaign clearly designed to affect meaningful social change. What does that look like? For you specifically.
I could paint a utopian version of it. It just looks like people respecting each other, people not, kids leaving the house and being able to come back home. Just normal things that we all expect, respect, and also for officers as well. I think they're going into communities super afraid. That's what I believe. And you can't police people you're afraid of, right? Because then there's an overreaction to everything. I talk like this, right? If you don't understand my culture and how I talk, you may think I'm upset. It's just the way I speak. And if we're in a standoff with each other, and you're speaking to me in certain kind of way, my dad left. My dad's not home. My dad died. How about that? And you're talking to me like you're my dad. There's no way I'm going to allow that. So now my tone changes, and now the communication between us is broken. And that's how I see it. For me, my point of view is the communication between us currently is broken, and a lot of people are losing their lives behind it. So to fix that communication, people coming home and being coming home to their families is and obviously an overhaul of the jailing system and the way probation and all that works. I guess that's some of the things that.
I think I caught a question right here.
Yeah. I know what you're saying with everybody knows what it is now. It's time to move on from the captain or because Neil, he was working with the communities and he was doing stuff beyond just bringing awareness to it. Why did you bring him into this initiative? Do you plan to involve him?
No, you have to ask him. I can't. I don't. I'm not his boss. I can't just bring him into something. He has to. That's for him to say. And you speak about it as if it's in the past tense. You say he did more and he was. Yeah. He's, huh? Yeah. So he's currently doing action items. Right. That's his version of action item. This is our version of action item. We all do different things. And we all work differently for the same results. I don't knock what he's doing. And hopefully he doesn't knock what I'm doing.
Have you talked to him about bringing him into this project?
We had a conversation. That's the first.
By the way, we have our Players Coalition. We have also.
Hi, Tatiana with the word. In the music community, have you guys started a conversation with artists to align with the campaign, and what is the response been like?
Briefly, yeah, and it's been positive. Yeah.
How will that continue? Or what sort of, are you starting to look for somebody to apply artists to make the song, or what does this look like right now?
Yeah. We wanted to have this discussion first, and then I think tomorrow we've identified artists as well, but I think tomorrow we really start moving forward.
Kate from ABC. On the other side of it, there's a ton of players doing great work. Have they been involved in this conversation? And if so, what was their feedback? Did they say, that's great, but you have to do this, that, and the other thing to make sure we can get this work done?
We've really only brought people in the last 48 hours, I'd say. So both Jay and I have had conversations with players and others, including the union, in the last 48 hours, and I think the reaction has been overwhelmingly positive, because this is an opportunity.
Can you talk about any of the players specifically?
No, but we're not, I'm with Jay in it. When I have a,
She actually not expecting an answer. Don't worry about it. She's like, can she?
You mentioned Robert Kraft's role. What are some other owners who in the past that wanted the focus to be more on the football field and not outside the lines?
well, again, it's not, we've talked about, even in the halftime show, Jay made the point about, we have to improve the quality even of the sound in the stadium. So how do we do that? And so we've had some conversations about that. And I always remind, we still have a football game going on. And that, that's the magic of what all these people back here do is you're putting on an incredible event that is around a football game. We always want the focus on football, and I think that's something that we do, and we do it very well. But we also want to put the light on things that, I think our players care about, our clubs care about, and they do a lot of work in their communities. And so that's not something different to what we do. We get to a game, people want to watch a football game. That's what they love doing, and that brings people together. And music, football, entertainment, that's something that we bring people together of all backgrounds and likes and dislikes, and that's something that's important for us to take advantage of and use in a powerful way.
Is there anyone that has?
Can we just stop that and just let everybody talk? We could conclude. You would come over here and sit down, and we could just invite any other questions. No. By the way, you did a great job. I'm so proud.
JP, you've been raising the consciousness of this country for decades. Why do you feel like partnering with the NFL will further your mission to inspire, rather than doing what you've been doing, which seems to be speaking out against it?
Yeah, I feel like it's the place where it happened. And you go to the place where it happened, and then you have that conversation there.
So you think that by people, like especially people on Twitter, communities of it's a lot of criticism. You think that working with the NFL will further bridge the gap? I mean, it's like polarizing.
I think about it like this: the NBA, I don't know, let's call it 18 years ago, had a player called Mahmoud. You familiar with him? A Muslim guy played for the Denver Nuggets. He didn't want to stand up for the national anthem because of his religion. He wasn't playing the next year, right? So at that time, the NBA was like, oh, everyone's like, ah. If you look today at the NBA the way it is, people would say it's at the forefront of social justice, right? There was a time where it wasn't. So these things happen. People have to evolve, and people have to want to be better, and people have to want to have conversations, and this isn't Twitter. You can't just throw someone out if they make a mistake. You know what I mean? This is the real world. You can't say, oh, you a mistake, you're canceled. I'm never speaking to you ever again. That doesn't accomplish anything. You know, so that's what I believe. I believe real change is had through conversation and real work. You know, wanting to do things. And what better way to do it than where the conversation first took place.
And by the way, I don't think either one of us expected that this relationship wouldn't have its critics. I think we're both I'm more used to critics than he is.
Might be 50-50.
but you don't let the critics or the negativity overwhelm the chance to do something really positive. And I think that was sort of both our views. They said, yeah, we know there'll be people who criticize, but we'll do the work, we'll succeed. And we'll make a difference. And I think we'll prove that the relationship was a real positive in providing better entertainment, but also in making a change and an impact in the meantime.
Why have you reached out to network partners, CBS, ABC, ESPN, etc.?
I was just going I was waiting for that one.
He's here.
The good news is you're all our partners, but no, only because I think we wanted to have this conversation. We wanted to be able to share our vision with you guys and be able to do that directly with you guys, and then I'll start this afternoon.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think there's 3 calls already back in my office.
Can we look to integrate into some of the programs?
Oh, for sure.
On game day?
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, Jay and I were just talking about that before. I mean, they're a big part of the platform, right? And so we have to work hand in hand with them.
Hey, Jay, why did you want to play in the Super Bowl? Like, what was the reason?
I didn't like the process of some.
No,
He asked a question.
He's already told me.
I think the process of selection was fractured. But I think that, so, you gonna tell me what happened, okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
man. So you would get, sorry guys, right? So you hit 4 artists right here. You take 4 artists and everyone thinks they're playing the Super Bowl, and it's almost like this interview process. And I don't think that anyone, so I picked Chuck, the other 3 people are a little upset. That's not even good math. After 3 years, 9 people upset and 3 people played. Ain't that many superstars in the world. You're gonna run out of people that want to play. And I just think the process could have been a little bit more definite. This person is playing, this person doesn't, conflict is not, the schedule doesn't align, then we move on to the next person. You pick someone, you speak to them, you let them have it, and then you move on. And I think that, you know, and let the artist be the artist, you know. And no one asked about it, but my problem with Travis Scott wasn't about him not playing football. My problem was he had the biggest year to me last year. He had a monster record, sicko mode, and he was playing on the stage. I had an M on it. I don't see any reason for him to play second fiddle to anyone that year, and that was my problem.
Going off of that, it was reported last year that Rihanna was turning down because of the Comcast situation. She's obviously a collaborator of yours. Does this partnership maybe make her rethink for the future? Do you happen to know?
We have to ask her. Yeah. So that's a tough question for me to answer.
You say you want to change things from the inside of the NFL. What do you actually want to change?
Again, the entertainment. I think that for a long time, and not just the NFL, America in general looked at rap as this fad thing, or looked at our music as fad. It's the #1 genre in the world and has been that way. When people tell you, oh, rap is #1 now, that's 15 years ago. You just can't hide the statistics now because of streaming. The streaming numbers are so outrageous that you can't hide it. But in 1998, rap was the #1 genre. And going forward to today. So I would love for these platforms to be more inclusive of our music, and you know, just having a place where we can have these conversations where it's like, oh, things are going on wrong in the country. You know, people are dying in these neighborhoods. Okay, where do we go? Again, everyone, yeah, it's a natural emotion to be upset. But where do we go now? Where are we going to take it? What are we going to do? How do we fix it? And what is everyone doing? What is everyone? Everyone can speak, like those Twitter people. Everyone can talk. Ask them what have they done. It's 365 days last year. I can tell you exactly what I've done last year. I can tell you everything that I've been done in that change. I can tell you the amount of people I saved from going to jail. I can tell you that I got this person out of jail. I can tell you that I've done this, and that. I've fed this many people. I can tell you exactly what I've done with my 365 days. What has everyone done? It's a challenge. Like, what are we doing? I mean, it's cool. We can have the conversation. And again, I'm not saying it's not needed. It's needed because we need to know what's happening. We need to identify the problems in order for us to address it. But after we address it, what are we doing?
Can you elaborate on how the different community groups and nonprofits you'll be identified that you're going to work with and I guess are going to be funded?
Some will be identified by the players, because this exists currently. Some will be identified by the artists that participate in these programs. They'll say, again, I'm using Chance's name maybe way too much, but Chance, his thing is education, so he'll focus on education. So it'll be between the organizations, the artists, and the players.
Commissioner, you said something that I did an episode a few months ago. The NBA is very proud of its commitment to social justice. Is this also part of the shift by the league, or is the NFL until you become more like the NBA?
No, we don't copy anybody, but I'll just tell you, we're proud of our 100 years. We're proud of what we've done in our communities. But, as I've said many times, even here today, our players spoke up about things that were happening in communities, and they brought that awareness to the league, the clubs, the owners, and they responded by trying to create a platform that will address those issues. So I'm actually proud of what we're doing. So I think we have the greatest platform in the world, and we're using it in a very positive way.
Commissioner, this is a great partnership. But the best PR move the NFL can do right now is the Colin Kaepernick ban.
This is Colin Kaepernick's agent.
To whom? Twitter.
That's a good place to go. Are we done? Are we good? Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Where do you, that's it? Okay.
I think the biggest issue people have is they want to know how you could partner with the league on social justice when Colin Kaepernick, who brought it to the attention of the masses about peacefully protesting against social injustices, still out of job.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that I think we take it back. I think that we forget that Colin's whole thing was to bring attention to social injustice, correct? So in that case, right, this is a success, right? This is the next thing, right? Because there's two parts of protesting. You go outside and you protest, and then the company or the individual say, "I hear you. What do we do next?" Right? So for me, it was like actionable item. What are we going to do with it? Like everyone heard, and we hear what you're saying, and everybody know I agree with what you're saying. So what are we going to do? You know what I'm saying? So reach millions and millions of people, or we get stuck on Colin not having a job. You know what I'm saying?
So I think my follow would be Roger. Like a lot of people think the partnership is disingenuous because it's almost like putting a man in a book because it seems like Colin being collectively blackballed by the NFL.
Well, I'll just add on to what Jay said, because we talked about this, we talked about a variety of issues, and I think when we first met, we talked about entertainment and how we do that. But the number one thing we went to is impact, that we can have an impact together, and that we can do some really positive things in our communities. And to go to Jay's point, we listened to our players. We understood what our players were saying, and we created a platform by which to help drive change in communities that Colin has raised and that other players have raised. And this partnership, in addition to the entertainment aspect and bringing football and music together, is going to help us make even greater change. And we call it protest to progress, right? We need to make progress as communities and as a country, and that's what we want to try to do. And that's a big part of, I think, what both of us feel this relationship can be.
We do have to move on. Jason.
Jay, quick comment from BBC, just to follow up. So you passed up performing at the Super Bowl, and then you rapped about passing up performing at the Super Bowl. You said the NFL needed you needed the NFL. What changed? What was the impetus for the partnership?
Yeah, as an artist, I've always held myself in high regard and respect. And if I'm in this position or in a space where I feel like the level of respect that I earn as an artist is being compromised, I'm going to speak about it 10 times out of 10. And then after that, there's conversations that happen. I work in criminal justice in this very room. We do board meetings here, and Robert Kraft is on the board of that as well. So those conversations started about criminal justice, and seeing how serious we were and how dedicated we were to those platforms. And again, like everything else, it slowly evolved, like a conversation as opposed to, yeah, I'm upset with you, and I'm never speaking to you again. We're adults at this point, and the only thing, conflict resolution, only way we're going to move forward is through conversations. And I guess my speaking out brought about a conversation, which brought about a conversation, led to a partnership.
Commissioner, just to follow up, you said that the NFL and Rock Nation have a shared vision of inspiring meaningful social change. What does that social change look like to you? What does it look like to you?
Well, I'll go first. To me, we spend a lot of time talking about our initiative that our players really created and that we support our players with in trying to, what we use the term, inspire change, and to work with them on criminal justice, education, better relationships with law enforcement in the communities. Those types of things that our players have identified areas we need to make progress on, we need to move forward on, and we'll be supporting that inspire change as probably well as evolving that with our players. I mean, that's something that's going to evolve very quickly, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously, something like this doesn't come together unless you two have a lot of really candid discussions about what this is about. Can you talk a little bit about how your relationship has evolved over this process, over these months? I'm taking you guys and said, hey, let's talk about this.
I think just really truthful, honest conversation. I think the first thing I said to Roger was, if this is about me performing in the Super Bowl, then we could just end this conversation now. It has to be a bigger platform than that.
That was after I flew from New York to LA.
Good weather though, man.
How many months has this taken place, this conversation?
I don't know. What was it?
We first, I think, saw each other at the Kansas City Rams game, and then I think I came out in early January.
Yeah, so 6-7 months.
Yeah, somewhere there.
Just the relationship, how's it going?
Well, I'd also give a call out to Robert Kraft, too, who had a relationship, too, with Jay, and he saw the benefit of